Hi everyone, this is Melissa of Melissa Made, and I'm a brand ambassador for Catherine Pooler, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a product that we'll be releasing next Wednesday in the Catherine Pooler store, and it's going to be the big beautiful heart dies that you saw on the card I made. And I'm going to start with some simple watercoloring, and I'm taking a few Catherine Pooler ink refills in Daydream, Queen for a Day, Pixie Dust, and Party Dress, and I'm simply going to watercolor those onto a piece of Bristol smooth paper that's cut a little bit larger than an A2 size card. And it's a very simple procedure. I'm just kind of, sticking my paintbrush in, brushing that color on, and then I will go in and add another layer of color. I feel like the Queen for a Day, which is the purple color that you see, is very bright and bold and kind of overtook my Daydream, which is the turquoise color that I'm adding. But in the end, I think that the colors worked out really nicely. And the way I position the hearts on this piece of cardstock to get the dies that I want, the die hearts that I want, I actually leave much of the purple. And you'll see what I do with that in a little bit. So I've dried it with my heat tool, and I'm just going back in to kind of brighten up those colors a little bit more. The great thing about the Catherine Pooler ink refills when you watercolor with them is that they're very bright and bold and vibrant, and they really make a beautiful watercolored background. So here you see the heart dies, the layered heart dies that are going to be in Catherine Pooler's store in a week, and I absolutely adore them. They're so fun, and as a matter of fact, I've left them attached to each other. You can use your cutting tool and cut them apart, but you can see that I've left the middle hearts together, and I've done that because when they cut out, they create this cute little, repeating heart pattern that I think is really beautiful. So I'm adhering that with some purple tape and then running it through my die cut machine. Now I'm going to take some masking tape, and the 3 outer hearts I would like to tape down. And the reason I'm taping those down is because I want to make sure that those 3 outer hearts just stay together. Now, if you don't do this, it's fine. You'll be able to layer them inside of each other, but it just makes working with them a little bit easier. And then I'm going to pop out the 2 center hearts that I have here. Now, I'm going to be using some fun foam throughout this video to add some dimension, and I want to make sure that I mention that ahead of time, that if you don't have fun foam, you can use your, your foam tape or your dimensional squares that you might have. I'm also using Catherine Pooler note cards, which are 8.5 by 5.5, which is your typical A2 size card, and they already are scored, so all you have to do is use your bone folder, your hand, and kind of bend that seam and fold your card in half. Now I'm going to be taking a regular sheet of Catherine Pooler paper that I've cut down to an A2 size, 4.25 by 5.5, and running the largest heart die through. And you'll see that that gives me a nice base for those beautiful colored hearts that I have. Now here's where the foam comes into play. I can run that through my die cut machine, and it gives me a beautiful layered heart that can go underneath and add quite a bit of dimension. So I'm just going to pop out those 2 center hearts again, and then use the fantastic Barely Arts glue from Catherine Pooler to adhere this heart panel to, so that in the end this will pop up off of my card and give me a little bit of dimension. The Barely Arts glue comes with a fine precision tip that you can then add the needle to. It works fabulous. I love this glue, and it works great for adhering fun foam to paper, which I can't say for all other glues. So now that that's dried, I'm going to go ahead and take the largest heart that I die cut in that white Catherine Pooler paper, and I'm going to add the Barely Arts glue to that and adhere that to my card base, and I'm going to add some nice large stamping blocks from Catherine Pooler to weight that down. Now, I also am going to take that center that I cut out of those hearts and add that to the center heart. So that will give that heart a little bit of dimension as well, and I can pop that off of the center of the card. So once this is all dried, I'm going to take a die from Catherine Pooler. It's the beautiful word die, and it's amazing because it comes with the central sentiment and then also a shadow. I've happened to leave the 2 together so that the sentiment will cut out perfectly. Now you don't have to do that. They can snip apart. And I'm going to go ahead and start layering my card together. So I've added some of that Barely Arts glue to the colorful heart that I'm putting right on that large heart that we have already placed down on the card, and I've centered that. Now I'm going to add the middle layer, and this one I added no fun foam, so it will actually be recessed from the larger portion of the heart, and then the center heart will pop up. So it's a nice little kind of fun play with these layers, and you can find all different ways to do this, but I find that the watercolored background and then popping them up in different layers is quite beautiful. So I'm also cutting the shadow of the word beautiful out in the fun foam and adhering the 2 layers of the word beautiful to that fun foam. And then I will be placing the block on the inside or on top of that to hold that down to dry. Now, I actually took my watercolored panel that I made and adhered that beautiful dye to it so that I could get some pieces to place into the center of the word beautiful. I feel like if I had to do this over again, I might have just chosen white paper instead of the purple. I feel like the purple is a little bit bold and it doesn't look as perfect as I would like it to meshed into this word. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I add it to the card. However, I think the effect with the heart is quite pretty, and I love in the end how this card turned out. So now I'm going to take some Paisley Park sequins from Catherine Pooler, as well as a few from the Charleston mix, and add those to finish off our card today. So don't forget, next week Catherine Pooler has new products. The theme is 1+1. You can find links to the products I've used below in the description box, and just remember that this heart die won't be into the shop until next week, but also remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.